learning to listen to your creative self. It's vibrant, it's excited, and it's also very sad. Unplugged because we will always say yes to creativity. Totally Uncut because we all make mistakes, so turn it into a tool. This is Arroe Unplugged. Let's begin this day with one of those gigantic stretches where the whole body's getting involved in it. There's nothing like a great stretch. And then walk over to the corner in the wall and just scratch your back now. Do it. You gotta do it. Makes you feel good. Because we're waking up to another dark, gloomy, rainy day. A light fog holds tight to this forest, that which I live within. The evolution of seasons, the transition of the atmosphere moves through each and every one of us, and then it moves beyond us. And how it affects each and every one of us is how it's going to land inside the eyes and hearts of other living things. I rely on a tall cup of extremely hot coffee to fortify my standing, to enable the ability to spring forward in ways that don't deny me from having a place with a voice. It's got to be naturally made on a murky canvas like this, for it is here that we all presently stand. And in which shadow are we aligned with? Shall it take over our growing thoughts, or should we remain truer to the art and blossom? Because it's who we are. It's what we are. The survivors of the passing storms. No matter what remains, we stood with an umbrella in this late fall morning rain. Hey, it's Arroe. This is The Daily Mess, a chronological walk through an everyday world. I am a daily writer. I take what I see and I put it on a page. Then I take what I feel and I place it here. Just as a conversationalist. Someone who enjoys the presence of life. Because in a matter of moments, it could all change. And then where do we stand? This is The Daily Mess. A long list of conversations sit in front of my day today. Oh yeah, show prep essential. Most of it taking longer to get ready than physically having the conversation. I'm struggling with the next step of the delivery. While watching a David Foster documentary last night, I realized I've been with that master of music 4 different times. What's going to happen to all of these conversations that I get? Because in this moment of now, I've got them. But what happens during the transition? So much music, so many movies, so many book authors, all of that history tucked away neatly inside hard drives and on podcast websites. Listen, I am no different than any other creative mind. What is lived out in the presence of now shouldn't go silent when pulled away to a different direction. So what I've got to do is I've got to lay out the next platform, knowing who can and who will put the same passion into the path of process and progress. Is there anyone who can hold up the honor? Is there anyone that can take the spiritual gifts and allow them to grow forward? I'm not the only one who thinks like this. In everything that you do you ever wonder who's going to receive it after the transition? Keeping your heart open and your eyes wide open to document mentally and physically. You're constantly preparing. What happens and what will happen if it doesn't happen? You know what I mean? Because we all go through these transitions in life and then we crowd up inside someone's house, their apartment, and we don't know what to do with it. It usually lands in the hands of someone who says, I'll take it. But they don't know what to do with it. They let it go. I have a brother from a different family. My father had 3 families. He was from the first family. And he called me up one night. I got all these pictures of the guy that created us. And a lot of these pictures, you guys are in this box as well. Do you want them? And I literally told him, I said, I wouldn't know what to do with them. And he goes, really? He says, it's the history of our family. And I said, I get that. I totally get that. But the history of what you're calling family isn't the history of what I see as family. And so it's a very tough position that a lot of people are dealing with these days because we're not the only ones. I have conversations with very good people that are facing the same situation. What are we going to do with this? How do we do with this? Why do we want to do this? During the lockdown, the COVID lockdown in March of 2020, my wife and I, we did something to keep our minds straight. And that was we did what's called the Swedish death cleaning. If it has no value to anybody else in your family, throw it away. Get rid of it. And we did. We dumped a lot of stuff. And the saddest part about all of that, because it took place 2.5 years ago, the saddest part is that all of that openness that we created is full again. But who's got the time to do a Swedish death cleaning? It takes a lot of time. And more importantly, it takes a lot of emotions to say, you got to go. I don't need you anymore. So, when I say I have a long list of conversations in front of me today, I've done my show prep. I don't keep any of my notes once the conversation is over. I throw them away. I have no feeling. But the conversations that I have, and I was reminded last night because of the David Foster documentary, it was like, I've talked with him 4 times. What am I going to do with him beyond my time? I'm Arroe, and that's the Daily Mess.